Hello. In this video, we will be discussing the basic blocks tutorial of RStudios. Like many of you, I am a college student, so I know the value of time. As to respect yours, I will be summarizing the content of this basic blocks tutorial into about 5-ish minutes so that you guys can effectively use RStudios while also having your time not wasted. First things first, if you ever have problems with RStudios and you need help, you can type in help.start and put in whatever function you'd help with into the parentheses, and RStudios will send a bunch of resources to you to help you out with that. Now getting into the content. The most simplest use of RStudios is as a calculator. We can type in 5 plus 7, and that gives us 12. We can do a bunch of different simple arithmetic things on RStudios. We can do addition, plus, subtraction, multiplication with the shift of 8, exponents with the shift of 6, division or backslash, absolute value, which we would do typing in ABS and parentheses and putting in parentheses whatever we wanted to take the absolute value of, and square root with doing the same thing but with SQRT, and then into the parentheses putting in whatever we wanted to take the square root of. But what's great about RStudios as a calculator is, unlike calculators, RStudios can minimize the repetition steps we would always have to do on calculators. For example, if I ever wanted to know what the value of 5 plus 7 is, on a calculator, I'd have to type that in every time. But on RStudios, I can store 5 plus 7 as a variable. So we do that by selecting a letter for a variable. I'm choosing X. Then we would do a less than sign and a hyphen like this, or a little line, to make this arrow. That is our store symbol, both of those together. Then I can type in 5 plus 7 and click enter, and it hasn't been stored. Notice it doesn't show the value, it just stores it. In order to see the value of X, just type in X and enter, which is pretty cool. Now we're going to talk about vectors. Vectors are small collections of numbers, and they are the simplest data structures in RStudios. And they are created using a combine function. So I'm going to store an example as Z, store symbol. Now we're going to create a vector. So C, parentheses, and I'm going to put in whatever numbers I want. So I'm going to do 1.1, 9, and 3.14. Store, type in Z, enter, and we get our 3 numbers that are in C, which is pretty cool. Now, if you ever have problems or need help with vectors, you can just type in $C, and you notice how this reloaded, and it gives you a bunch of useful information about vectors, which is awesome. So, what's really cool is we can put vectors inside of vectors. So if I put C and then Z, 555, Z, we get 7 values because there was 3 in Z, that we did earlier, 3 in Z, so that's 6, plus this 555 to make 7, which is pretty cool. Now vectors can also be used in arithmetic. So Z, for example, times 2 plus 100, enter, and we get 3 values because there's 3 values in Z. Now to kind of comprehend that, I've written out what RStudios thinks whenever we type in something like that. So we have our Z, which is 3 values, times, then it creates a vector of just that 2, 2, 2, 2, 1 for each value of Z, plus 100, 100, 100, 3 values for each value of Z. And that's how RStudios comes up with these 3 numbers. That's kind of how that is used to think about stuff. That's pretty simple. Okay, so we're going to start trying to wrap this video up soon. I apologize, it's going a little bit over 5 minutes. So we can add vectors together, like C1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you want to make sure you divide each value of the vector by commas and a space in your combine function so that they're counted as different numbers. I can do plus C 0, 10, and we get these values, which is pretty cool. Now, notice that there's 4 values in this vector and 2 in this vector. 4 is a multiple of 2. You can do this with 4 plus 3 values, but RStudios will give you a little warning message saying something funky might be going on in the background. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, we're coming up to the end of this video now. So, so we're gonna go ahead and make a variable real quick, just to show this last part off. My underscore div. And we're to store this as 2 plus 6, just for 76, just for the heck of it. Enter stored. Now, if you ever forget what your variable is called, you can always just type my and underscore, and you can see there's this menu that pops up that can kind of tell you, oh, this is what it could be. So if you forget if it's like a lowercase d or if it's a capital D and you just don't want to type it in and maybe get it wrong, this little window will pop up. So you can just click on that, enter, and you got 78, which is pretty cool. All right, guys, so this video is about 7 minutes long, so it's a little bit over time, but I hope you found it helpful.